If you have ever set a width in CSS and the element still didn't fit, this video will finally explain why. Every element on a web page is made up of 4 parts: the content, the padding, the border, and the margin. These 4 areas control almost every layout that you will ever build. And this is called the CSS Box Model. It controls how width, height, padding, and margin actually works together. By the end of this video, you'll exactly know why sizes behave the way they actually do, instead of just guessing it. In CSS, everything is a box. A paragraph is a box, a div is a box, a button is a box, and every box follows the same structure, that is content, padding, border, and margin. Let us create a simple HTML code with a div class and some containers inside them. Now, as you can see, I've created 3 containers with a div class of container 1, container 2, and container 3. And as you can see over here, each element has 2 class names. In HTML, a class attribute can contain multiple classes separated by spaces. In here, container is for shared styles, and 1, 2, 3 are the individual behavior, which means this container is a parent and 1, 2, 3 is a child. This is a best practice in CSS as it keeps our code reusable and easier to manage. In a few moments, you will know exactly why this makes CSS much easier. So what I'm going to do is, in this example, I'm going to use internal CSS. And I'll just quickly go ahead and call the class container. And as I explained in the previous video, whenever you are calling a class, you use a dot notation and the class name. And then I'll give the background color of, let's say, light gray. And I'll hit save. And as you can see, there's a background color of light gray that has been applied in all the 3 containers. Now, let us understand what margin is. So what will happen when I add margin? Let me add the margin of 40 pixels. Now, as you can see, margin creates a space outside the box, pushing away all the other boxes, and it does not affect anything that's inside the box. And when I click on the element right here, as you can see, the margin, it says 40, because that's how much we have given over here. Margin of 40 pixels on the top, on the right, bottom, and on the left. And we do not have any border, any padding. The next thing that we are going to look is adding the border. So let us go ahead and add the border and see if it makes any changes in the value right here. Let's say border of 2 pixel solid red, and I'll hit save, and there you go. As you can see, the border has been added, and you can see top, right, bottom, and left, it's 2 pixel, and this border is the wall of the box. So the next thing that I'm going to add is the padding. So as you can see, by default the padding is 0. That's why your content, which is the container 3 content, is on the edge of the border. But when I add the padding of 20 pixel, it's going to create the space between the border and the content. And as you can see over here, this right here is the border, and this right here is your content. Okay, so there's a 20 pixel space on the top, on the right, bottom, and the left. So you might wonder, well, on the right side there's a lot of space, but technically there isn't, because when we click on the padding, you'll notice that it only has 20 pixel on the right side as well. The inner border is for the content. Okay, so padding actually creates the space inside the box, and padding affects the inside, and margin affects the outside the box. So as you can see, if you want to create space inside the border, you will be using padding. But if you want to create space outside the border, you will be using margin. A simple analogy that I can give you is, we can think of it like a package. The content right here is the item, the padding is the bubble wrap, the border is the box, and the margin is the space between the package. Alright, so now you might wonder, where am I getting these div tools? This is something which you can get from the Chrome browser. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to right click in the Chrome browser and click on inspect, and this is what I'll be saying. And then I'll click on these 3 dots, hit this second option right here, which is dock to the bottom, and then I'm going to click on computed. Currently in the page we cannot see any margin, border, padding. That is because we haven't selected any elements. So in order to select an element, you'll click on this icon right here. This is for selecting an element in the page. So once I select the element, what it will do is, it will select the div 3 element. As you can see right here, div container 3. And if I go ahead and select the second one, it's going to select the div container 2. And based on that, the box model value is going to be changed. So this is what we have given. The margin of 40 pixel, which you can see it right here. The border of 2 pixel, which you can see it right here. And the padding of 20 pixel. That is provided right here. And this right here is the content, which is container 2. Now let us look into padding and margin shorthand. So currently what I have done is I've given the padding of 20 pixel. So when I add the padding of 20 pixel, what it does is it will create the space on the top, right, bottom and left. What if I want different values on each of those sides? In that case, what we're going to do is we're going to use, let's say, if I want 10 pixel on the top, 20 pixel on the right, let's say 15 pixel on the bottom and another 25 pixel on the left. So here what it's going to do is let us save this file and have a look. So as you can see it over here, 10 pixel is for the top, 20 pixel is for the right, 15 pixel is for the bottom and 25 pixel is for the left. So whenever you give 4 values, you'll be able to create different kind of spaces on each sides. And it works like a clock: top, right, bottom, left. But let's say if you want to give the same value for your left and right, you can create 20 pixel on the right and 20 pixel on the left. But instead of doing this, what you can do is you can just remove one of this section, and then this 20 pixel is going to work for left and right. This is going to be for the top and this is going to be for bottom. But if you want to give same values for your top and bottom, you can just go ahead and remove this section and give it as 10 pixel. Well, this will also work, but the better way is just removing this. In the same way, 10 pixel is going to work for top and bottom and 20 pixel is going to work for right and left. And please note that you are not supposed to give any negative values when it comes to padding. So you're not supposed to give -10 and -20. The value will start from 0 and above, all the positive values. You cannot give any negative values. And the same thing you can do it for the margin as well. So let us give it a try. I'll just go ahead and give 20 pixel on the top and bottom and 40 pixel on the right and left. And when I save this, you'll notice that top and bottom is going to be 20 pixel, right and left is going to be 40 pixel. Now as you can see, when I made any changes on the container, it affected all the 3 containers, which is all the 3 div class, because they are sharing the same container class name. But if I want to make any changes in the individual element, what I'm going to do is I'll just go ahead and call 1. So let me go ahead and add margin bottom of 30 pixel. Now when I save this file, you'll notice that there is a margin that has been provided, margin bottom of 30 pixel for 1. Now if I want to give a different text color for the 1 container, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add color white. And there you go. As you can see, the color has been changed only for 1. But all this background color, margin, padding, border, everything applies for all the 3 containers. But if I want to make any changes to any properties individually, I'm going to call individual classes. Now we can adjust spacing without even touching everything else. Once the weight comes into place, this is going to be very helpful. Now this is where all the student always struggles. So please make sure you look into this carefully. If required, you can pause the video and try it on your end as well. So let us just go ahead and make some changes in the width and the height. Let me just go ahead and comment this by using Ctrl// and then add the width and the height in our container class. When I'll go and select an element, you'll notice that the content, height and width has been adjusted. As you can see, the width is 300 pixel and the height is 100 pixel. Now you might think that this box is exactly 300 by 100 pixel because that's what it's written right here, correct? But this is actually bigger. This is the key idea of the entire box model. Now let us look into the size carefully. What we'll do is in the container, we are going to go ahead and add box sizing and then add it as content box. By default, CSS uses content box. That means the width and the height apply to only the content. Now there's a formula that the width and the height actually uses. That is, width equals to content width plus left and right padding plus left and right border. And for the height, it will be height equals to content height plus top and bottom padding plus top and bottom border. So when we use that, you'll notice that the math is actually different. 300 plus 20 plus 20, which will give us 340, and 2 plus 2, which will give us 344. But the width that we have used over here is 300 pixel only. And this is one of the reasons why our CSS feels broken. So let me just go ahead and add all these other properties which we were using earlier. When we save it and refresh, you'll notice that it uses the 300 by 100 only to the content, not to the entire box. If we want to use it to the entire box, what we need to do is we need to change it from content box to border box. So when I save this code and refresh the page, you'll notice that the width and the height is going to apply to the border and not only just to the content. Now how do we know that? Let us use the formula that I mentioned earlier. Content width, which is the 256 value plus left and right padding 20 plus 20 plus left and right border, which is 2 plus 2, which will give us 300, which is our width value. And same goes with the height. We'll calculate the height, which is 76 plus 10 plus 10, which is 20 plus 2 plus 2, which is 4, which will give us 100. And that's the reason why it is crucial for you to use box sizing border box every time whenever you are adjusting the height and the width of your content. That's why it's advisable for you to use box sizing border box as a global property, so that whenever you add the height and the width on any of the element, it's going to follow the border box rule, not the content box rule. So when I remove all these other properties and just add one global properties of box sizing border box, it's going to adjust the entire CSS. When I save this, it has been adjusted. Now, as you can see, every CSS box has content, padding, border, and margin. And width and height are not the final size unless you use the border box, which we have used right here. In week 3, I'll show you how the box model directly affects flexbox and centering, the thing that everyone actually struggles with. So if you have learned something new from this video, make sure to subscribe to this channel and leave a like and comment below. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.